Okay, let's get right into it. If you're building literally anything online, a huge global brand, a tiny personal blog, whatever, you've got to make a choice. And it's a choice that sends a message before anyone even visits your site. We're talking about your digital address, and specifically, that little part at the end, .com or .net. Let's figure it out.
So think about it for a sec. You type .com probably a dozen times a day without even blinking. But do you actually know what it originally stood for? Because the answer is kind of the key to this whole thing.
All right, so before we can really compare these two, we need to understand the system they're a part of. Every single web address out there follows a certain logic, and we're going to decode a really important piece of that puzzle.
And that piece is called the top-level domain, or TLD for short. It's just the final part of a domain name, the letters that come after the dot. The easiest way to think about it is like a zip code for your website. It tells the internet's mail carriers where to start looking.
So, let's meet the originals, .com and .net. These guys are two of the oldest, most established TLDs in the game, and they were actually created with very different jobs in mind. And, believe it or not, those origins still shape how we see them today.
And here we go, the answer to our little pop quiz. .com actually stands for commercial. It was designed from day one for businesses. And .net, well, that stands for network. It was meant for the companies that were actually building the internet's pipes and infrastructure. Now, the lines have definitely gotten blurry over the years, but this origin story is crucial. So just how dominant has .com become? Well, get this. Nearly half of all websites in the entire world, a whopping 44.4%, use a .com address. That is an absolutely incredible amount of the market for just one TLD.
And this chart really puts it into perspective, right? You can see .com taking up this massive chunk of the pie, while literally hundreds of other TLDs are left to fight over the rest. This isn't just a number. It has a huge impact on how we all think and feel about websites.
And how we feel brings us to the real core of this whole thing, perception versus reality. See, there's a huge myth floating around about these domains, and once we bust it, making the right choice becomes so much easier.
Because of its history and just how common it is, we're basically conditioned to see .com as the gold standard. It just feels trustworthy, professional, right? .net, on the other hand, it still carries that original network vibe. We tend to see it as a bit more technical, or maybe the alternative you grab when the .com you wanted is taken.
But here it is. This is the secret. If you take away only one thing from all this, let it be this. When it comes to how they actually work, they are 100% identical. There is zero technical difference between them. Those perceptions we just talked about, they're all in our heads.
I mean, look at this. Do search engines like Google care? Nope. Does the system that directs traffic, the DNS, treat them any differently? Not at all. Is there any difference in speed or reliability or anything that actually matters to performance? Absolutely not. Technically speaking, they are perfectly equal. The only difference is how we see them.
Okay, so if the big difference is just perception, let's get practical. When does that perception matter the most? First up, let's make the case for why .com is, for many, still the king. You should absolutely go for .com if you're building an online store where trust is everything. People just feel more comfortable putting their credit card details into a .com site. It's also the clear winner for a global brand, and it helps you get that type-in traffic. You know, when people can't remember your full address and just guess by adding .com at the end? It's just a habit. But what if your perfect .com name is already taken? Or maybe it just doesn't feel right? Well, choosing a .net isn't about settling for second best. It can actually be a really smart, really strategic move.
So when is .net the right call? Well, the most obvious reason is if your dream.com is already gone. But it's also a fantastic fit if your brand is in the tech space. It leans right into that original network vibe. And because they're way more available, they can be perfect for personal projects or for buying as a second domain just to protect your main brand.
All right, we've walked through the history, the perception, and the technical reality. So now let's pull it all together for one final summary to help you choose your digital identity. And this table really just lays it all out, doesn't it? .com is the gold standard for e-commerce and big brands. .net is the specialist, perfect for tech and niche projects. One is super competitive to get, the other has way more options available. It really just comes down to the perception you're trying to build. And that's what this all boils down to. Your domain name is so much more than a technical pointer on the internet. It's the very first piece of your brand that anyone sees.
It sets an expectation. It sends a powerful signal before they've even clicked.
So think about what you're building. Think about your audience, your goals. Are you trying to build a global storefront that needs instant, universal trust? Or are you creating a specialized service that actually benefits from having that niche identity? The choice is yours. What message are you going to send?